Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Irish tale. Today we are going to be doing Irish fairy and folk tales. So join me and Astro the Conyer in navigating this wonderful, wonderful world. This first little bit we're going to be talking about the she, which are the Irish fairies. But don't call them fairies, call them she. Now, fairies are denshi, or fairy people. Who are they? Fallen angels who are not good enough to be saved or bad enough to be lost, says some people. The gods of the earth, says another group of people. The pagan gods of Ireland, says, Irish historians, the Tuatha Dé Danann, who, when no longer worshipped and fed with offerings, dwindled away in the popular imagination, and now are only a few spans high. And they will tell you in proof that the names of the fairy chiefs are the names of the old Danann hero, and the places where they especially gathered together, the neighboring places, and that the Tuatha Dé Danann used also to be called the Solashi, the fairy host, or Marakashi, the fairy cavalier. On the other hand, there is much more evidence that proves them fallen angels. Witness the nature of the creatures in there, expressing their way of being good and evil to the evil, having every charm and conscience and consistency, being so quickly offended that you must not speak much about them at all, and never call them anything but the gentry, or which in English means good people. Yet, so easily pleased, they will do their best at keeping misfortune away from you. If you leave a little note for them on the windowsill overnight, on the whole, the popular belief tells us the most about them, telling us how they fell and yet were not lost, because their evil was wholly boundless. Are they the gods of the earth? Perhaps. Many poets and mystics and occult writers in all ages and countries have declared that behind the visible are chains, on chains of conscious beings, who are not of heaven, but of earth, who have not inherited from, but changed according to their whim, or the mind that sees them. You cannot lift your head without influencing and being influenced by force. Yes, I've allowed Astro today. The visible world is merely their skin. In dreams, we go amongst them and play with them. In combat with them, they are perhaps human souls in the crucible. These creatures of whim do not think the fairies are always little. Everything capricious about them, even their size, they seem to take whatever size and shape pleases them. Their chief occupations are feasting, fighting, and making love, and perhaps the most beautiful music. And they've only one industrious person amongst them, the leprechaun, the shoemaker. Perhaps they wear their shoes out with dancing in the nearby village of Balstor, and is a little woman who lived amongst them 7 years, and she home she had no toes. She danced alone. The great festivals in a year, May Eve, Midsummer, and November Eve. On May Eve, every 7th year, they fight all around, but mostly on the plain of Oral, whatever that is. For the harvest, for the best years of grain belong to them. Old men told me he saw them fight once. They were torn off thatched houses in the midst of it all. Had everyone else been near, they would have merely seen a great wind whirling everything into the air as it passed. When the wind makes the straws that leaves the world as it passes, that is the fairies, and presently take off their hats and say, God bless them. On Midsummer Eve, when the bonfires are lit on every hill in honor of St. John, the fairies are at the gayest, and sometimes steal away beautiful mortals to be their brides. On November Eve, they are all but gloomiest, for according to old Gaelic reckoning, this is the first night of winter. This night they dance with the ghosts, and the puka is a ball, and witches make their spells, and girls set a table with food in the name of what they call the devil, that the fetch of their furniture lover may come through the window and eat of the food. After November Eve, the blackberries are no longer wholesome, for the puka has spoiled them. When they're angry, they paralyze men and cattle with their fairy darts. When they are gay, they sing. Many a poor girl has heard them and pined away and died. For love of that singing, plenty of the old beautiful tunes of Ireland are their only music. Caught by the eavesdroppers, no wise peasant would hum, pretty girl milking the cow. Near fairy wrath, they are all jealous. They do not like to hear their songs on clumsy mortal lips. Colin, the last of the Irish bards, slept on a rock, and ever after the fairy tunes ran in his head and made him the great man he was. Now, the next big question is, do they die? Blake saw a fairy's funeral, but in Ireland, we say they are immortal. Now, this poem is called The Fairies by William Agamben. Spelling his name in the description. Up the Airy Mountain, down the rushy glen, we aren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. We folk, good folk, troop it all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, make some their home. They live on crisp pancakes and yellow tide foam, some in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs of their watchdogs, all night awake. High on the hilltops, the old king sits. He is now so old and grey, he's nigh lost his wits. With a bridge of white mist, Cumhaill he crosses on the shady journeys from Silver Lake to Roses, or getting on with the music on cold starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget from 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back between the night and morrow. They thought that she was fast asleep, but she was dead of sorrow. They have kept her e'er since deep within the of flag leaves, watching till she waked. By the clangy hillside, through the mosses bare, they've planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig them up in spite? He shall find their sharpest thorns in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushing glen, we aren't going a-hunting for fear of little men. We folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and a white owl's feather. If you like this video, do please hit and subscribe. It definitely helps my channel grow. We'll be doing more of these Irish folk tales every day until